What if I told you that there is something so powerful that just by looking at it, in fact, even looking at an image of it, you would feel more creative, more curious, happier, and less stressed. Even weeks later, that would help you feel more connected to other people, more generous, less materialistic, and would help you feel as if you have more time. What would your guess be? What kind of visual do you think we are talking about here? Any ideas? Any guesses? Yes?
E.T.
Sky, to be more specific, the starry sky. So, BITM, along with the Royal Society of Chemistry, Eastern India section, welcomes you to our star-studded 23rd Niroprova Memorial Lecture, Cosmic Concepts. Psychologists have found that the starry sky is one of the most powerful sources of emotion that we know of. That's the feeling you get when you are confronted with something vast, something that dwarfs you, and something that's beyond your capacity to comprehend. Science today has enhanced our understanding of this universe and how it works, and it has also directly augmented our personal experience with the sky. So, celebrating these cosmic connections, we have with us our distinguished speaker. I would request our senior curator, Mr. Rajiv Nath, to welcome him to BITM with a small felicitation. Please join us in welcoming Dr. Niroprova Duwari, Director, Institute of Astronomy, Space and Earth Sciences, Kolkata. We look forward to learning from you, sir. Before we engage in this session, I welcome to the podium Curator BITM, Mr. Rajiv Nath, to deliver his welcome address. Over to you, sir.
Good morning to all of you. First, I would like to welcome all the students and teachers from the New Horizon School, Baranagar Mohan Girls High School, the Heritage School, Sri Shikayatoli School, Young Horizons School, St. Joseph and Mary's School, Indus Valley World School, Loreto Day School, Bowbazar and Loreto Day School, Bowbazar and Delhi Public School, Ruby Park, to the 23rd Niroprova Memorial Lecture, which is being organized today at BITM in collaboration with the Royal Society of Chemistry, Eastern India section. And today, in fact, we are delighted to have with us Dr. Niroprova Duwari, Director of Institute of Astronomy, Space and Earth Science, Kolkata, and also the ex-director of the APP Planetarium at Kolkata. Myself, I have a long relation with Dr. Duwari. In fact, when I was working at the North Bengal Science Center at Siliguri, it happened that at that time, it is in fact, I think more than 2 decades ago, Dr. Duwari was on a trip to North Bengal, and we just came to know that he is here in this region, and we requested him, and immediately he agreed. So that's the spirit and that's the enthusiasm of Dr. Duwari. So today it will again be a learning experience for you and also for me. I also welcome Dr. Mukul Basu, President of the Royal Society of Chemistry, Eastern India section, and Professor Ashish De, Secretary of the Royal Society of Chemistry, East India section. And with the Royal Society of Chemistry also we have a long relation, and we have been regularly organizing number of science popularization programs and also the Niroprova Memorial Lecture. I look forward to hearing from Dr. Duwari soon. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Today's today's session will not have been possible without the initiative and the generous support of the Royal Society of Chemistry, Eastern India Section. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Mukul Vasu, President, Royal Society of Chemistry, Eastern India Section, to introduce us to the missions and objectives of the Society. Over to you, sir.
Good morning. Now, I would first, friends and distinguished assembly. Today we have assembled here to listen 23rd Niroprova Memorial Lecture on Cosmic Concepts to be delivered by revered speaker Dr. D.P. Dury from formerly Director Birla Planetarium, Calcutta, to educate school and college students. This lecture is a part of our ongoing program on promoting scientific knowledge among youngsters. Late Mrs. Niroprova Banerjee was a beloved wife of the then famous rubber technologist Dr. Dasarathi Banerjee, who allocated a lump sum money to Royal Society of Chemistry to arrange such lecture every year to show respect to the departed soul. That is the undermeaning of Niroprova lecture. This is 23rd year. So we are celebrating this already 22 years we have celebrated. Now I like to say a few words on Royal Society of Chemistry, which is at present undoubtedly the oldest learned societies of the world. Yes, East India section is one of the many such sections of the present body. Over several years, we are trying to reach and educate young people from schools and colleges by arranging events in and around Calcutta. Such events or awareness program includes lectures, seminar, debate, essay competition, workshop, etc. I hope students of young generation will be benefited by listening to this program, and they will come forward as young members to serve the society which suffers from inadequate manpower. That is the main problem, why we need young people to join us, and they should become a member of the Royal Society, and they will participate with us to celebrate all the functions. We are the old generations, we are outgoing, some new blood should come in to replace ourselves. For manpower problem, we are bound to collaborate or co-sponsor different programs with other institutes. We are fortunate to have the BITM for our collaborative work. BITM people every year, they help us by providing adequate technical and infrastructural facilities. We thank to them. We are old friend of BITMs. Lastly, although a little early, I wish you Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and I hope this year will bring you success, happiness, and more important, a COVID-free year. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. To delve into the nuances of cosmic concepts, we have with us a stalwart of astrophysics. May I request Professor Ashish De, Secretary, Royal Society of Chemistry, Eastern India Section, to introduce today's speaker to our audience.
Good morning to everyone. It's a pleasure to be here at BITM always, because we have become friends over several years now. Now, as it was explained to you, by the President of the Eastern India section, Dr. Mukul Basu. Royal Society of Chemistry is one of the oldest learned societies, and it is spread all over the world. And in India, we have got 5 sections, of which Eastern India section is one. Now our motto, the motto of the Royal Society of Chemistry is to advance the science and practice of chemistry. Now we invite people of different disciplines because, as it is well known now, that science cannot be divided into cannot be compartmentalized. There is only one science, and as a chemist, I feel really proud to tell you that chemistry still remains the mother science. Now, as you know, when we look at the night sky, particularly in Amavasya, we look at the sky and to find the starry sky, and it fills us with wonder. And I would also say, as far as I am concerned, I feel a bit humble when we realize that over what is small significant person I am. Now, about this I am not going to tell you any more because I will not transgress into Dr. Devi Prasad Duari. That will be a really very offensive thing to do, and I am not going to do that. Now, as it was explained to you by Dr. Basu, my colleague, that we have got a long-standing collaboration and with Birla Industrial and Technological Museum, because I must say here that without their help with infrastructure and other things, all our activities would not have been possible over the many years. And talking about the Niroprova Memorial Lecture, as Dr. Basu has explained to you, that it has become possible because of the generous help of late Dr. Dasharati Banerjee, the pioneer of rubber technologists and rubber chemists in India. In the memory of his beloved wife, Mrs. Niroprova Banerjee, he has donated a sum, and with his interest, we carry on the activities. Now our purpose is to attract young people, because I think all of you know the well-known adage, catch them young. Our purpose is to show you, to attract the young people, and to show you that every science and chemistry alike is interesting. That is the most important thing. That it is interest. We hope that you will find interest. And this is not the first time that Dr. Devi Prasad Duari is giving a talk, and I had the privilege to listen to him. And I very well remember on one occasion, he explained to us the chemistry of the cosmos. Because chemistry of the cosmos, he explained in one lecture. So, cosmology is not different, not a strange thing from chemistry. Chemistry is everywhere. So I will not stand any more between you and the speaker, and I am sure for next about an hour or so, you will thoroughly enjoy, as will I. So with this, I introduce Dr. Devi Prasad Duari to give you a talk. Thank you, Dr. Duari.
We'll take just a little time to clear the settings. So please, you can take your seats in the audience while we set up the stage for the speaker. Thank you.
By any chance, some of the lights can be switched off so that it becomes better visible to the young students over here. Yeah. A very good morning to you all. It's really a great pleasure for me to be standing in front of so many young bright minds. Some of them still smiling and gossiping, but whatever, they are bright minds. And in the coming 1 hour or so, we'll be discussing about a subject area of which I think 90% of you have done a school project, astronomy. That's the general trend. No, not you, I understand. But it has become a happening subject. And let us talk about this particular subject area. But before I start, I should thank the Royal Society of Chemistry for continuously putting on this effort, the energy to do something positive in this part of the country. When for the last 30 years, I'm a fellow of the Royal Astronomical Society, but nothing happens in India of Royal Astronomical Society. So in that way, this is a great thing that has happened. And this is a memorial lecture, so I start by giving my respect to the departed soul in whose name this memorial lecture is being done. This light can be switched off if it is possible, right? They don't need to see me, they need to see these pictures.
Badal.
This is actually reflective and because this is shining. See whether if it can be done, if it is not fine. So basically, since in 1 hour or so, we cannot discuss a whole subject area. So that is the reason I have termed my talk as cosmic concepts. That we will get snapshot survey, we will get glimpses of small things, some of you which you all know, but we should a light will but still, for completion purpose, I should be talking about that. But before I talk about cosmic concepts, I think for the last 3-4 months, starting from July, 12th of July to be precise, all of you are quite excited by seeing fantastic photographs in internet, YouTube, Facebook pages, so on and so forth, of a fantastic instrument called James Webb Space Telescope. I'm not going to tell you about the pictures because you can just go down to the NASA website and just see the pictures, but it has excited the young minds as well. Not because of the beauty or the color or what a cool subject or a humongous object that it is getting portrayed, but about the challenges that these pictures are posing to our human mind. Thousands of years back, when our ancestors used to look into the sky, they used to wonder, what is sky? Where is sky? What are those lighted dots we call stars? And is there any connection between the star and the earth? With these set of questions and queries, the subject of astronomy was born. So astronomy can be considered as one of the oldest subjects that human minds have dwelt upon. At the same time, given the huge number of news items that you regularly get to see in television channels and newspapers, you get an idea that it is also one of the most happening subjects in the recent times. Astronomy as a subject has a power, it can tell us what was the physical situation in this particular area that you are sitting now, millions of years back. At the same time, given the huge number of news items that you regularly get to see in television channels and newspapers, you get an idea that it is also one of the most happening subjects now as well. It has the potential of dealing with a vast expanse of space and time, and it has the potential of unfurling the mystery of the universe. The President and the Secretary of the Society, they emphasize that how chemistry is the mother of all subjects, but since I make a living out of talking about astronomy, I should challenge that statement, particularly of the person, and saying astronomy is the mother of all subjects. Why I will talk about it. Just to give you an idea, 1901 till 2000, 3.5 Nobel Prizes were given in the subject of astrophysics, astronomy, cosmology, and general theory of relativity. Whereas from 2000 to 2022, 6 Nobel Prizes, 17 Nobel laureates were awarded this prize. And that tells you the importance, the emerging importance of this subject area. Throughout the world, as if a revolution has happened. Developing, underdeveloped, fully developed, every country is desperately trying to build newer, bigger telescopes. Because they have realized the country which will be the first to understand the deepest part of the cosmos, they will probably win the race in trying to understand the basic queries about nature. Just for example, in this very inhospitable terrain, in the coldest desert in the world, Atacama in Chile, a place called La Paranal, right? 4 8-meter telescope, one of the technologically most advanced instruments have been put there. But just to give you an idea, I've been here a couple of times for observation, and there are only 4 to 5 people in this huge complex. And the closest person who stays near this is 250 kilometers away, even the doctor, right? So it's a very, very tough situation that astronomer has to face. Mauna Kea, a small island in the Hawaiian archipelago. On top of Mauna Kea, 15 countries have built 12 telescopes. The smallest one cost is around $500 million. That is 8,000 crore rupees. No, right. Or 4,000 crore rupees, sorry. But you should be happy as an Indian. The largest telescope is not yet born. The work has started in 2018. By 2025, probably it is going to be functional. The world's largest telescope is going to be called TMT, 30-meter telescope, a telescope with a 30-meter diameter mirror at the heart of it. The cost of building this telescope is so huge, not a single country is able to build it. 5 countries are collaborating: USA, China, Canada, Japan, and India. In 2018, the then Prime Minister declared in the Lok Sabha, the Indian contribution for building this telescope will be 1,700 crore rupees. One instrument. And that tells you, in India, though in West Bengal we hardly get a feel of that, in India, science, technology, especially astronomy, astrophysics is going on in a breakneck speed. And not only white light, optical light, you know, part of the electromagnetic spectrum, radio waves, and the atmosphere is transferred into radio waves. So, objects are observed in radio waves. And this is one of the fine examples. Do you know the diameter of this? 100 meters. In Germany, Effelsberg Radio Telescope, that tells you about the technological advancement. But do you know one thing? Where is the largest largest radio telescope in the world? 90 kilometers from Pune, in India. We don't know that. That's the problem. Not our problem. We don't tell people. And in 1950, a very famous fellow called Sir Albert Einstein gave a lot of theories. I'm not discussing theories in this afternoon. But he said that Newton was wrong about gravity. Because Newton said gravity is an attractive force. He said no, it cannot happen. What he said? He spoke about space and time. What is that? You know, space X, Y, Z and time here. Right. What is the relation? Suppose I tell you that I will meet you at BITM. No meaning. When? Suppose I tell you, I'll meet you at 4 o'clock. No meaning. Where? So, you know, everyday life, we put space and time together to tag an event. I'll meet you at BITM at 4 o'clock. Otherwise, it has no meaning. So he said, we live in 4-dimensional space and time. Now, if you visualize this 4-dimensional space-time as a 2-dimensional rubber membrane, very stretched rubber membrane, say like this, we have attached it with a hook. Put this object in the rubber membrane. Goes down a little bit. Put this is heavy. Goes down a lot. What happens between the rubber membrane, between this and this? It gets curved. So can it stay here? It will start rolling and touching. Einstein said, this is gravity. It is not an attractive force. Any object, because of its mass, creates a curvature in the space-time. And that curvature will tell other bodies how to approach it. General theory of relativity. So in this concept, if 2 heavy objects, very heavy, very small, they are going around each other very fast, what will happen? A ripple will be created in the space-time called gravitational wave or gravitational radiation. 2015, it was discovered by two fantastic labs of Caltech called LIGO, Laser Interferometry Gravitational Observatory. 4 meter by 4 meter. The total vacuum inside is 10 to the power minus 9 torr. 10 to the a billion times less than the atmosphere density here. Right? And do you know who is the first international associate of LIGO? India. My friend, India is happening. Kolkata, West Bengal is not happening. Sorry to say. A lot of people will feel bad. What? Still, I'll say. Do you know the budget for this work has started in Maharashtra, starting from May this year, 2022. 3,200 crore rupees. It is Indian government which is doing it. Right. Whatever, night sky. Thousands of years back, our ancestors used to look into the night sky and used to wonder what is the meaning behind those lighted dots. They couldn't find an answer, but in their desperation, what they did, they chose different parts of the sky, identified closely spaced stars, joined those stars through straight lines, and created imaginary figures. In this way, the whole sky was divided into 88 regions, each region being governed by an imaginary figure, which we today call constellation or Taramandal. You will be asking me, these are all imaginary. Why should I know their names or their relative position? Right? We should better know the present hairstyle of Shah Rukh Khan. That is more important. Right? But let me tell you, they have not lost their physical relevance to it. Right? Just to give you an idea, suppose a batch of you has gone for a hitchhiking trip, night has happened, moon is not there in the sky, and you have lost your way. Suppose somebody in the morning told you, if you go in the southern direction, there is a locality. But which is the southern direction? If you happen to see the Saptarshi Mandal, or the Big Dipper as it is called in the Western parlance, take the last two stars, join them in your mind, produce it with the sky, it will hit up a single star, and that star is the pole star. The moment you get to know the pole star, you know which is north, south, east, and west. And believe me, my friend, as somebody was mentioning, I mentioned 10-15 years back, they're still important. That's why every year for 6 nights I have to teach the fresh batch of advanced commandos of the Indian Army how to read the night sky. Because if you can read the night sky properly, without a lot of sophisticated instrument, because you cannot take more instrument with you, because they are all radiate in electromagnetic radiation, they can find that direction. Right? Even today. One thing I also want to impress upon you, that you exist, that I exist, that we arrived on Earth, that there are 8 billion or 800 crore people at present and millions of other life forms, it is because of a series of accidental happenings. Generally, accident means at the end of life. It's just the ulta. Because of the accidental happenings, we are here. Right? A series of chance. But don't you see, don't you feel in yourself sometimes also, we feel so important? Either muscle or intelligence or money. And in places like West Bengal, if you don't have anything, forget about it, political patronage will. We are all here because of a series of chance happenings. Earth, moon and sun. You'll say, wow, my kid brother is or sister is learning it in LKG 1. What is the big deal about it? But believe me, you people know, you are very knowledgeable guys and girls. Even if I ask to the high standard teachers, can you tell me what is the average velocity of Earth around the sun? Oh, they don't know. 29.5 kilometers per second. And imagine a car in 1 second moving 30 kilometers. You will say, no, it's not possible. 1 second, 30 kilometers, how can it happen? But you are forgetting, you, me, 800 crore people and millions of life existing on the surface of the earth. Every second of our existence, we are moving at a velocity of 30 kilometers. So you think you are sitting tight, I'm thinking I'm standing straight. For example, we all know Earth is going around the sun around an axis, and it goes around itself once in 24 hours around another axis, and these two axes are not parallel. They're inclined at an angle of 23.5 degrees plus 3/4 star. But a lot of our teachers and ma'ams have forgotten to tell us, just because they're inclined and not parallel, you people are sitting here, I'm standing here, 800 crore people and millions of life exist on the surface of the earth. Why? I'll talk about it. If sunlight falls directly on the patch of land, the average energy per unit area which will be absorbed and radiated will have a value. If the same beam of light falls slantingly over a bigger patch of land, since the area is more, the average energy per unit area which will be absorbed and radiated will have a smaller value. As a result, the temperature will be more in the first phase than the second. And that is a simple reason season changes occur. Right? When Earth is on this side, because of the tilt, sunlight falling directly onto the north, slanting you up to the south, summer in the north, winter in the south. 6 months later, it is just the ulta. You'll say, okay, we understand because of the tilt season changes often. But what is the big deal about it again? Do you know if there were no change of seasons, what would have happened on Earth? Any idea? If there were no change of seasons, there would have been no ocean currents. If there were no ocean currents, there would have been no air currents in our atmosphere. And if there are no air currents in our atmosphere, clouds would not have born somewhere and gathered somewhere else and gave us rain and fresh water. Life would not have been possible because just after Earth was born, it would have been a barren desert. So my friend, it's not because of your parents' mutual fund, LIC's business or whatever, or my something else that you are alive. Accident. This tilt is accident. First accident. You all know, eclipse, sun, moon, earth, shadow, eclipse. But even today, so many taboos, even in our households also. Don't do this, don't do that, forget about that. This is one of the best picture that nature can give us. Actual picture of total solar eclipse happening. Right? It was during an eclipse, sun was discovered as a new avatar. They found out from the surface of the sun, milky white radiation is coming out, which cannot be seen on other times. When the scientists asked themselves a question, what is causing this white radiation, they were amazed with the answer. They found out from the surface of the sun, every second, on an average, 1.6 million, 16 lakh tons of charged particles are coming out. These charged particles, as they move through the magnetic field of the sun, they produce this milky white radiation. The average velocity of these charged particles are 450 kilometers per second. At that speed, they have enough momentum. You know what is momentum? If they hit any atom or molecule, instantaneously they will break apart. Poof, evaporate. That means if I stop my lecture, go out and stand on the sun, the charged particle coming from the surface of the sun, the moment they hit my body, within fraction of a second, poof, disintegrate. Why I am alive? I'll come to that. Tides, you'll say, show us stars. No, I'll come to that. Tides are important, my friend. You know why? Because have you not learned in class 5, 6, life first originated on oceans? So how did it come onto the land? Suddenly grew lakes and climbed onto the land? No. Every day, high tide is to wash ashore multicellular organisms. Water used to go down, they used to get stranded on the land, they used to get killed. Over millions of years, they got the adaptation of staying alive on land. Then different things happen. Reptiles, mammals, blah, blah, blah. Monkeys arrived, and we have arrived from the monkeys. Believe it. Right. So, and some of us still like monkeys without the tail. You see them in the newspaper. Right? If I ask you, why does tide occur? You will say, come on, even the rickshaw puller knows this. It is moon which is attracting the water on the earth, causing the tide. But my friend, you have all studied GM1 M2 by R square. If you do a back of the envelope calculation today, you can show sun is attracting earth 173 times more than the moon does. That is the reason earth is going around the sun. Then why do you say it is moon which is attracting the water? It's just at distance, M1 M2 by R square, distance second consideration. See, simple questions, it never excites your mind. You go for big things, AI, BI, CI, whatever. Simple questions. Because, my friend, tide is not a force. No. Tidal force is not a force. It is a resultant of quite a number of force over unit distance, or what is known as force derivative. M1, M2 by R cube. And that is the reason, since moon is 384,000 kilometers away, and sun is 15 crore kilometers away, moon wins. But a lot of our teachers or ma'am and sir or ma'ams never told you, sun also attracts the water on the earth. Do you know how much? 47% than the moon does. And we say, oh, it is moon. Right? I'm not going to the details, but moon plays a tremendously important role in our life, on earth. Beautiful picture. Don't believe in these conspiracy theories that you see in the YouTube, that America has never landed on moon. All nonsense. Right? This is taken from the surface of the moon, Earth rising from the horizon. What is moon? According to the scientists, 452 crore years back, or 4.52 billion years back, a huge ball of rock came and slammed onto the earth with such a force, huge amount of the surface material got gouged up. It couldn't go away forever, but going to a very vast distance for millions of years, it condensed, coagulated, coalesced, and has given birth to our moon. This is called the collision ejection theory. Wikipedia, giant impactor theory, a different name, but same. Though there are three more theories. co-creation theory, fission theory, capture theory. But 99% of the scientists believe in this theory. And what happened to Earth? Two things. Forever it got tilted by 23.5 degrees and the Pacific Ocean was made. See how everything is connected. That's what I'm trying to point out. Let us start our journey in space and time. You'll say, what? Is it a literature class or something? Space, obviously, change of space. Time, oh, you need time. No, not that. 1905, again that famous fellow, Albert Einstein. He had a lot of theories, you know. I'm not talking about that. But one of the results was that this light that you see, we know all that, 3 lakh kilometers per second is the velocity. The distance from sun to earth is 15 crore, 3 lakh kilometers per second. If you do a simple division, you can show. Light takes 8.3 minutes to come from sun to earth, right? Or sun is 8.3 light minutes set. But what is the physical meaning of that? It means, after my lecture, when you go out, look at the sun for a fraction of a second, you have to tell yourself, the sun I am seeing now is the image of the sun as it was 8.3 minutes back when I am seeing it now. The closest star, Proxima Centauri, 4.2 light years away. Today evening, if the sky is clear, look at the star and tell yourself, the star I am seeing now, it is the image of the star as it was 4.2 years back. So my friend, next time, in your household, your kid sister or kid brother tells you, Dada or Didi, please take me to the Science City, spend 50 bucks on a time machine ride. Never. On any clear night, go out into the open, tilt your head. The deeper you are seeing now, you are seeing your own past. We don't realize that. It's an instantaneous time travel when you look up in the sky. That's why so much of romanticism, right? It's quite nice, right? Even the fellow who was dozing off here said, wow. See, I give lectures to 300 commandos at a time. And after the lecture series, I have to put marks on their attendance. Not just, yes sir, yes sir, but how they are behaved. So I watch every face as I give it. Now it is a practice. Sorry, I have disturbed you in your sleep. Whatever. This is the first stop of the journey, the solar system. These are all almost true color pictures of the main avatars. Sun, Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune. Poor Pluto has been kicked out. We have all learned Sun is a ball of gas. Achha, have it ever occurred to you that if I take a football, pumping a lot of colored gas, cut open the football, will the gas inside remain like a ball? It will diffuse out. Then how come Sun being a ball of gas is not diffusing out into the sky? You should have asked this question to yourself. Amazing answer. According to the scientists, 460 crore years back, 4.6 billion years back, a huge cloud of gas and dust was floating in space. This cloud, in terms of number of particles, were made up of 91% hydrogen, 8% helium, and 1% other elements. The average temperature of this gas cloud was minus 240 degrees centigrade. At this very cold temperature, out of the 4 fundamental forces of nature, right? There are only 4 forces, right? Sure. Sound comes out, it becomes hot. What is this force? Tell me. Anybody? One answer, electromagnetic force. Where is electricity? Yes, it is any force. I'm shouting, right? My voice is going to, or muscles are vibrating, electromagnetic force. So there are 4 forces, strong, weak, nuclear force, electromagnetic and gravitational. At this very cold temperature, out of the 4 fundamental forces of nature, only one type of force comes into play, and the force of gravity. The force of self-gravity will attract the periphery of this gas cloud toward the center. As the gas goes toward the center density rises. As the density builds up, pressure rises. And the pressure builds up, temperature rises. Right? A lot of people are nodding. Who told you? Science is not a religion. I am saying this will happen and you believe that. Who told you? Density rise, pressure rise, temperature rise. You have studied. Yes, Charles' law, Boyle's law. Come on, you've all studied that. This year it was not important for the final exam, so sad in the coaching class they have not taught us. Sorry to say. Whatever. And slowly the temperature started rising and rising and rising and ultimately reached a fantastic level of 1.5 crore degrees centigrade. At 1.5 crore degrees centigrade, a thing happens. The nuclei of 4 hydrogen atom, protons, they come together, fuse together and produce a helium nucleus. This thermonuclear fusion reaction, our scientists have been able to do it in our labs, but most of the time they cannot control it, so they use it to explode a hydrogen bomb. But inside the sun, in a very regulated manner, when 4 hydrogen nuclei comes together and produces a helium nucleus, huge amount of energy is produced. As the energy tries to come out, it produces a back pressure called radiation pressure outward. This radiation pressure will exactly balances, matches, cancels the inward force of gravity. Sun being a ball of gas remains hanging there for millions of years. So, why we are alive? As I told you, because 15 crore kilometer away, in a ball of gas, 2 opposite forces are continuously cancelling each other every second of our existence. A little this way, that way, no? Believe me, my friend, either sun will become bigger or sun will become smaller, and that means within 8.3 minutes, everything ends somehow. So don't be so sure and proud of yourself that I am and so I am. No, cannot happen. If I bring down the sun from the sky, cutting like a watermelon, inside there are 3 regions. The very core where the thermonuclear fusion reaction is going on is called the core. Then for a huge volume it freely flows called the radiative zone, and sun is very funny looking. From the surface up to a depth of 650 to 700 kilometers, pillars of gas stacked one after another. Heat comes from inside, hits the bottom layer of the gas pillar. Gas, when it is heated, rises up, comes to the surface, deposits the heat as sunlight, becoming cold like a fountain, goes down and continuously raises the heat from inside. This is called the convective zone. Outwardly, sun is again divided into 3 regions. The surface of the sun that we get is in the early morning or evening. Beautiful picture, right? Hegio, right? And Jala Vishaman Fashion Kashyapyam Mahadev, elderly people will do it. Some of you has to be forced by your parents to do something in the sun at least 1 or 2 days a year. That is called photosphere. Over the photosphere, in a very thin layer, exquisitely pink colored gas can be seen, that is called the chromosphere. Chroma means color. And for thousands of kilometers, milky white radiation called corona. You all know. Corona has nothing to do with coronavirus. Corona in Latin means crown. Right? So coronavirus has the structure of a crown. That's why coronavirus. It's called corona. You want to see the actual surface of the sun. Very rare photograph I'm showing. This. Very scratchy mottled surface. If you look deeply, it has this beehive-like structure. These are columns of gas. Average size 950 to 1000 kilometers in diameter on the surface of the sun. This is the beautiful picture of chromosphere, can only be taken during a total solar eclipse of the spikes of gas, which are technically called spicules. And to me at least, one of the most beautiful pictures that nature can show us. Really amazing. Solar corona. Actual photograph. I taken just 2 years back by one of them. This is beauty. Right? But the beauty, it doesn't end in beauty. What is this? You have to analyze. Right? Suns sometimes become very active. You get to see kale dhabbas, black splotches. These are actual pictures I'm showing you. Taken by SOHO, Solar and Hemispheric Observatory, a NASA satellite. Black splotches are kale dhabbas. What are these? They are called sunspots. What are they? The surface temperature of sun is 5600 degrees centigrade. Center is 1512. Surface is 5600. At that temperature, gas cannot remain as gas. It becomes what is known as plasma. Plasma television, same plasma. Plasma has a property. Wherever there is a magnetic field, plasma will try to get reflected from it. On the surface of the sun, very randomly, small pockets of magnetism do form. A column of plasma trying to bring the heat from inside, if it realizes that there is a magnetic field, it will not come out straight. It will take the heat away from different directions. No heat comes out from different from that region. It will be too dark. Again, if you don't believe me, go to the Google, not now, just after the lecture, and challenge me. Do you know how much money was spent for taking this photograph? Any idea? Come on with a guess. 2012, it was taken by a satellite called SDO, Solar Dynamical Observatory. $1.2 billion. Why? Why? Because only in the last 20-30 years, scientists have realized sun is interacting intimately with each one of us individually every second of our existence. Not in the astrological way, that bambo jambo forget it. Physically, materialistically interacting with each other. not each other, with each of us. So to understand sun, at least to predict its behavior 2-3 days advance, there is a desperate need. Right? Sun is not a smooth object. Tremendous amount of explosions are happening. Thousands of tons of gas getting thrown up from the surface, reaching a height of 25 to 30,000 kilometers, making beautiful arch and loops, falls back onto the surface. Sometimes they get thrown out with such a force, they get detached from the surface of the sun and flow past the whole solar system like a solar wind or solar storm. You have already seen the picture taken in 2015. Actual sun. And do you know what is the size of this cavity? This loop, the cavity. 3 Earth will go side by side inside that. My friend, instead of doing, think of the power. I gave this lecture, similar to this lecture, just a week back, and there were quite a number of very good, decent, innocent, religious-minded fellows. So they said, "What are you saying? Doing this is bad." I don't know, no, please don't. Sorry, I'm hurt you. I said, "Where is heaven? What? Where is heaven?" Okay, a boy in Mexico, just opposite. Where is his heaven? He will say, "Oh, that means my town." Has it ever occurred to you? I told him, heaven is neither there nor there, it is here. We imagine it. So, these are practical things, right? Don't mix it up with spiritualism. And I told you, this charged particle, if they hit you, me, this building, even this poor fellow who is very sleepy, or anybody around, any object around, you see, the word was, right? You are doing it. Yes. We used to do that also, right? I'm not blaming you. Right? So many things, World Cup happening, this happening, that happening. This charged particle, if they hit you, me, this, within fraction of a second, everything will evaporate. Why you and I are alive? Again, by a chance accident. By accident, Earth behaves like a bar magnet. Around the Earth, like a peels of an orange, there is an invisible magnetic shield. The charged particle, they come and slam onto the magnetic shield, cannot enter, flow past the Earth, and we think we are the king and queen of ourselves. So important, right? But in the north and south magnetic polar region, there are open field lines, as if there is an opening. This charged particle, they do enter the Earth's atmosphere. Before hitting the ground, killing you and me, they interact with the air molecules and make them glow. And what do you get to see? Aurora. Aurora borealis in north and Aurora australis in south. Again, one of the beauty of the nature. And I've been fortunate enough to see a couple of times, mostly both times at the northernmost part of Norway. But once, the first was in 2005-06, I think. I was just 200 kilometers south of the North Pole with one of my friends in a research base. Basically, the average temperature, I remember that day, October, minus 34 degrees centigrade. Just feel it. It's gone. But the beauty was amazing. Keep quiet and just look at it. Whatever. Solar system, how did it happen? According to the scientists, 460 crore years back, when from the disk of gas and dust, the sun was getting born in the outer periphery, but the temperature was less. Gas and dust condensed, coagulated, coalesced, gave birth to very hot spherical objects. For millions of years, they dissipated away the heat, and at least the first four, Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars, became rocky, solid, terrestrial. Whereas others, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, are mostly made up of gas. You know that, right? Everybody. Have you seen in the roadside corner, there is a Shani temple and a Brihaspati temple, and they have an image with pushtas and other things. Where from they get it? It's made up of gas. I'm not blaming anybody, I'm puzzled. Very elaborate man standing like that, everybody. Where from they get the image? So you should understand reality and perception sometimes. This is a collage of all true color pictures. Everybody will beat me, I'm telling you. Politicians, religious people, everything. Right? This is a collage of the true color pictures of all the planets. Mercury, Venus. We do not get to see the surface of Venus covered by a thick layer of cloud. The cloud is made up of concentrated sulfuric acid vapor. So when it rains on Venus, it is droplets of sulfuric acid which fall from the sky. Right? Mother Earth. Let us not talk about her tonight. Or today, after. Red planet Mars. Why red? Rusting on the surface. Ferrous and ferric oxide covers the whole area. But this 2002 Hubble Space Telescope photograph, scientists have found a white sediment in the polar region. According to them, this white sediment is a mixture of water ice, dry ice, that is carbon dioxide ice, methane ice, and ammonia ice. According to them, even if a part of it is water ice, maybe liquid water is to flow on the surface of the Mars millions of years back. And on Earth, liquid water is synonymous with life. So was there life on Mars? Is there still life on Mars? Very big question. And sorry, let me finish up the list. Jupiter, 319 times heavier than Earth, takes 11.86 years to go around the Sun once, but takes only 10 hours to go around itself. With a tremendous spin, it has dragged the clouds of the atmosphere and created these elastic belt-like structures. Till today, 80 moons. And the beauty, I don't know whether it's a boy or a girl, but Saturn is a beauty. Fantastic, 29.4 years it takes to go around the Sun once, also had 82, 83 moons. Uranus with a ring, Neptune, blooming color, covered by methane-bearing clouds, and our Nanne Munne Pluto, with 3 of its major moons, Charon, Nix, and Hydra. Now, from your birth, you open the newspaper, television channels every 2-3 months. Mars this, Mars that. Tell me why. Spending millions of dollars in India rupees. Why? Because, my friend, they have found these geomorphological structures. As if liquid water has cut through and created these ravines, channels. Right? So, 2008, Phoenix landed onto Mars. And a lot of instruments, it had a robotic arm which is supposed to scratch a little bit of the Martian surface and see whether below the surface there is any water ice. I'm showing you very rare photographs. It's not available readily at the internet. But I'm an associate of NASA, so I can show these pictures without any problem for academic purposes. This cannot be commercially used. Real picture. On the 20th day of operation, after scratching a little bit, they found the white sediment. You see these 3 people over here, from here? After 4 days, not to be seen. This is for the first time human civilization have found proof of water ice under the surface of Mars. And then, curiosity. 2012. My friend, let me tell you why so much of money getting spent. Every year, on an average, few 100 kilograms of rock come scattered from Mars and land on Earth. Every year. Most of the time we don't get to see it because 74% is water on Earth's surface. If Martian soil or subsoil has some bacteria, virus, parasite, my friend, sitting on a rock, if it lands onto the Earth, believe me, within 6 months to 3 years, whole life form will go. Nobody can stop it. Last 2.5 years you have that experience. Small dot, coronavirus, can devastate. So that's why, to safeguard your future, to safeguard the mankind, we have to know that there is life on Mars. Not just for the heck of it, for the fun of it. Totally dried up riverbeds, pebbles, which can occur only if there is a flowing liquid water. So when the whole world was jumping up and down with curiosity's finding, 15th of August, India's Independence Day, the then Prime Minister declared, India is ready for a Mars mission. Believe me, my friend, the whole world started laughing. India, Mars, technology, get lost. Our very famous good friend next door, China. Next day, 16th August, 16th August, the Xinhua press agency, the largest press agency of China, came out with the lead story. Indian scientists are going to prove themselves as clowns and jokers in front of the international community. What an insulting statement. 16th August. 17th August, you know, who copied that story? Another friend down there, Pakistan. But without going into the details, it was a tremendous effort by India. 6th of November, sitting atop a PSLV X-25 rocket, Mars Orbiter Mission, MOM, or lovingly called by Akshay Kumar as Mangaljaan, no, not him, everybody, Mangaljaan was sent out to space. 9 months it traveled, and you know the story. 24th September, 8:02 AM 2014, India became the first country in the world in its first attempt successfully entered Mangalyaan around the orbit of Mangal or Mars. Starting from 1957 till today, there are 63 missions to Mangal. Nobody succeeded in the first attempt. And this is India. Feel the pride in it. Why I am telling you? Nothing happened on that day in West Bengal. Nobody was even bothered. We feel India is somewhere else. Once we cross the international boundary of West Bengal, we go to India. That is our mental feeling. But money and other facilities should come from there. Otherwise, it is my birthright, right? To get everything. Why should I contribute? That is the philosophy that is preached here. I'm sorry to say that. Tremendous pride. But just to give you the capability of Indian scientists, Mangalyaan was planned to function for 2 years. 2014. 2022, October, it stopped. Because fuel is not there. 8 years ago. And through my own ears, I have heard the NASA director's Christmas lecture that time. And I'm since I'm an associate of NASA, almost every year I visit the NASA labs. According to him, Indian scientists have produced one of the finest camera ever built by anybody in the world. From two-dimensional photography, NASA has spent $11 million to buy 200 photographs from ISRO to create three-dimensional tomography. From two-dimensional photographs. You cannot answer when you understand what is the collective intellectual power of India. Try to be a part of it instead of criticizing everything that we are teaching you. Sorry to say, I'm a part of it. I have to be blamed, but shame. Your mind should be open. Your mind should not be constricted by any dogmas, by any caption of a newspaper, by shoutings of some people in the television channels. You should reach out. World is your oyster, as it is called in English. Whatever. Coming 10 years, a very exciting time. Very, very, very exciting time. One of the projects, I'm not going to read out them, you can read out yourself. Amazing. Saturn. Beautiful ring system, my friend. 380,000 kilometers wide, 1 to 100 kilometers in thickness. Just like this. Size, you see, Earth in comparison. And you think you're important, right? I'm important. And made up of ice crystals and pebbles. How come ice crystals and pebbles are creating the shape and size, keeping the equilibrium, going round Saturn without dissipating is an amazing. And one of my PhD students have done his PhD on that, on this. He's a very, very respected, now he's one of the faculty at IIT. So he has shown this system can be understood, you will learn it later in your life, in a non-linear dynamical order. Here, the equilibrium is obtained not in that 1 or 2 or 3 dimensions, in fractional dimensions. Chaos theory, you know, fractals, same. 2.2 dimension, the equilibrium can be proved. Again, see, I'm having a fun time with you. The next picture tells a lot. Suppose, imagine, on a spaceship, you're going up, and they drop you at the rings of Saturn. Alone, nobody there. And the rocket goes up. And then, amazingly, you meet an alien. There is no alien. But still, imagine, right? An alien comes to you. Who are you? What answer do you give? Sir, I'm a human being. What answer? What is a human being? You are standing alone. You cannot compare it with me. Similarity is this similar. No. So you have to say, sir, or ma'am, whatever the alien is. You see, me, 800 crore like me, millions of other forms of lives, all plants, animals, trees, mountains, oceans, rivers, everything now is concentrated in that white point. actual picture of Earth from Saturn's screen. Now you see how important it is. Think of the politician. Why are they so you are alive? But my friend, from this distance you have to say, please see that dot now. I am a micro dot in that dot. That is my importance. And think of in the real life how much important we feel about ourselves. Just hot air. We create a hot air within us and make us feel bad. If I cannot do that, no, my father, who is he? You should be realistic. Don't go by false promises, wrong perceptions, and foppish ego. Astronomy does fantastic things to your ego. This is one of the examples. Whatever. 1801, Italian astronomer Giuseppe Piazzi discovered a piece of rock 900 kilometers in diameter between the orbit of Mars and Jupiter, named it Ceres. People thought a new class of object is getting off, new planet has been discovered. But within 3 more years, Pallas, Vesta and Juno, each around 500 kilometers, were discovered going round the sun between the orbit of Mars and Jupiter. They realized it's a new class of objects and they called them asteroids, Grahanu in Hindi or Bengali. Right? Think of these poor astrologers. 9 planets and sun, 10 fingers, 10 angutis. Now all these are going around the sun. Think of it. If you have to appease all of them, from the tip of your head to the tip of your toe, you have to wear angutis. This must be like that. Now you understand what nonsense they do, astrologers. Sorry, your parents, even my elders, they have done absolute nonsense. I can prove. They cannot prove that what they are doing is not nonsense. But recently I had a very big fight in Delhi. It was a workshop kind of thing with astrology versus. I never go into that sort of debate. That sort of debate happens only in ABP Anandur. Because there is no end to it. But he was very vehement, very big name. If I name you, I say, sir? Yes. Right. He asked me, we can actually. I said, tell me one astrologer who 3 years, 30 years, 300 years, 3,000 years back told that within 2 years, 46 million people will die in coronavirus. Give me one. And give me another astrologer who will say, when will coronavirus go? And he tells you whom you're going to get married, who will be your priest, and how much money you have. And you believe them. Do your parents believe them? Amazing. Whatever. Here you see this picture. Don't think it's a cartoon, photoshopped or whatever video. Each green dot is a discovered asteroid. This is a NASA representation. And these red dots are special, they are called Apollo asteroids. What is the speciality? Their orbit intersects the orbit of Earth. That means Earth is going round on its own, happily. They can come and hit the Earth anytime, any point on the space. You know what will happen? 1/7, 1/8 of the Earth will break apart. The heat will be so much, everything will be instantaneously evaporating. Trillion degrees centigrade, fraction of a second. And if you ask me, sir, when can it happen? If you don't believe me, go to the internet. Any point of time. As I am giving this lecture now, it can happen just now. It can happen 10 years later. It can happen 10 lakh years later. Nobody knows. That we are alive is an accident. Try to understand that. Today is your day to show how good you are. Don't wait for tomorrow. That is what I am trying to say. There can be no tomorrow. So to keep your mark, as a student, as a young person, as a kind person, as a positive person, do it today. Don't wait it for tomorrow. Today थोड़ा मौज मस्ती कर लेते हैं, कल होगा. Do it. We human beings have not been able to follow this. Sorry. They have landed onto an asteroid, a Japanese spacecraft called Hayabusa 2 on an asteroid called Ryugu. Collected the sample in 2018, 2020 December. The sample was deposited on Earth by a parachute. And they have started examining it, and the preliminary examination is amazing. Huge amount of gold, silver and diamond. That's why a very famous fellow, very bad fellow also, Elon Musk, they think of asteroid mining. Huge amount of material is floating in space, which can be used. Comets, I don't want to get into comets, right? Let us forget about it and start doing something else. Are there 9 planets in the system? It's a solar system. Starting from 1998, 3 scientists from Geneva Observatory with a big telescope, Michael Oshkin telescope, 48-meter diameter, as they were observing the sky, they started regularly discovering newer and newer spherical objects, much, much farther away from the sun, but going around the sun. Almost close to the size of Pluto. Funny names were given to them. Sedna, Quaoar, 2004 DW. But critical thing happened. When on 16th of November 2003, this new object was discovered. Initially it was named 2003 UB313. Now the official name is ERIS, E-R-I-S. At the point of discovery, it was 1600 crore kilometers away from Sun. It takes 557 years to go around the Sun once. And size is bigger than Pluto. Everybody said, now what do you call it? If you call Pluto a planet, you have to call this object a planet. So, 2006, around 3,700 astronomers sat together in Hague, Netherlands. And I was also a part of it to discuss what is a planet. And after 4 days of almost fighting, it was decided to change the definition of the solar system. From now on, there will be 8 classical planets: Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune. And a new class of objects were nomenclatured. They were called dwarf planets. Who became the dwarf planet? Our poor Pluto was kicked out, as I told you, and became a dwarf planet. The newly discovered Eris, and the largest asteroid, became the dwarf planet. In 2015, 2 more dwarf planets has been incorporated officially. One is called Haumea, another is called Makemake. It's not Make-Make, Makemake, it's an Indonesian form. See, everybody says, when I say it's Makemake, not Make-Make, Indonesian form, oh sorry. Amazing. Whatever. 2006, NASA started a slogan, follow the water. A drop of liquid water means life. Outside the boundary of Earth, Mars is definite. Anywhere else? Yes. Europa, one of the moons of Jupiter, when they took a close-up photograph, scratch marks. So theoretically they said, the surface is 10 to 12 kilometer thick water ice. Inside, there is a warm reservoir of warm liquid water. And that liquid water is putting pressure outward, cracks are occurring on the surface. That this is true. 2016, when the Cassini spacecraft was flying over another moon of Saturn, Enceladus, hot water springs coming out. And do you know how much water has been calculated at this inside of Enceladus? 1.2 times the water present on Earth. And you want to say no life? My friend, life is a universal process. We have not discovered it. And those lives are not all friendly for us. Life is exciting thing, but we have to preserve it. Whatever, out of the solar system. True color pictures. You'll say, what nonsense. When I look up in the evening, 2 stars very far between and totally dark, nothing in between. Where from you are getting this photograph? Do you know why we don't get to see these pictures when you look up in the sky? Not pollution, always. Human eye. Human eye has a problem. It's called perception of vision. Within 1/10 of a second, whatever amount of light enters through our pupil and falls on the retina, the optic nerve immediately takes them to the back of our head in the optical lobe to create an image. Our eyes cannot integrate light like a CCD chip in a mobile. If our eyes were like a CCD camera, looking in a particular direction for 10, 20, 30 hours, we'd have seen almost every dot in the sky, there is a star. And huge gas clouds. This is the true picture of the cosmos. Okay. Are all the stars like sun? Answer yes and no. Why yes? Most of the stars are burning hydrogen to helium at the core. Why no? Because their initial mass, their surface temperature, and their chemical compositions are different. In terms of mass, stars can come in the range of 0.08 to 150 times the mass of sun. What is the mass of sun? 2 followed by 30 zeros. You all know. In terms of surface temperature, stars can come in the range of 50,000 to 1800 degrees centigrade. It was a legendary woman 110 years back at Harvard's Smithsonian Astrophysical Observatory, Mary Jump Cannon. She created a classification scheme. In 110 years, science has totally changed, but nobody can touch our classification scheme for research. In 6 years of research, she took 7 days of holiday, including Christmas. I'll tell you one thing, especially my friends here, women, ladies, girls, they have a special power in astronomy. You know why? Because of special property. They are much more patient than in general boys. And astronomy needs tremendous patience. In 6 years, naked eye, 240,000 star images covered in spectrum, she analyzed alone and created this. That's why even 110 years later, a very minuscule person is standing in front of you and telling her name. And nobody will think about, remember me after 5 minutes I die. Right? That is what is human life, success. You all know that one day we have to go. For you people it will be another 80, 85 years later on average. For me it will be another 1 or 2 years later, I don't know when. And the point is that you should keep a mark. Trying to. Getting a house or a flat or an apartment by the age of 20 to 23. One good car, flashy car, and by 25 you get a much bigger car. Once a year foreign trip and 2 to 3 resort trips in a year. That is not life. That is not success. Nobody will remember. You are doing, I can do better than that. She will say, I can do much better than that. So what is so special? The special thing is what you do, your action. What is positive about your action? How you are touching the minds of the other people. Minds, I'm not saying do this, go for a voluntary work. No, I'm not saying always that. Your work touching others' lives. See, forget about astronomy. I wanted to tell you because they are so bright and young, you are receptive. We, the elders, have always taught you this. Try to blame. Try to criticize. ये हुआ, इसीलिए हुआ. वो ये किया, क्यों किया? Stand in front of the mirror for 2 seconds. 1, 2. And in that flash, see that object there in the mirror? Tell yourself, what have I done? How good is I? You get this. You don't have nobody in the room. Just once. Am I good? I'm criticizing everybody. I'm saying he is bad, she is bad, he is that, it should not happen. Why politics? Why this? How good I am? That question should be faced by all of you in your life. That will make you successful. Nothing else. Not going to all these big things, byju's and all that, will bring success in your life. They will bring another extra 10% marks. Nothing else. We failed. I am telling you, we failed. But you are young. You are our future. Have that dream in your mind. I have to be good in a good way. Not by copying in the exam. Not by pulling strings to my father or political figures to get me a good position. Not by not seeing that my father, uncle, whoever is actually a corrupt person earning huge amount of money and I spend the fruits of the labor. Without understanding, this is corruption. prove yourself to be not corrupted. Because our society forcefully corrupts all of us. You know why? Because you are telling me I am corrupt, right? You are also corrupt, so nobody goes against anybody. I can tell you, young bright minds in India, I cannot explain how pure they are in their thoughts and how respected they are worldwide for their science and technology. Young kids, 17, 18, 20, 21. They entered, and I have seen Swedish Royal Academy, where the note as if entering to give a lecture, the whole hall stands up. That is success. Nothing else. Not the money. Believe me. I know because I am at the end of my age. When I am 61, so almost end. It doesn't pay me positivities. Right? And the spectra. Star looking, gazing, taking photographs, absolutely beautiful. One spectra takes an average research scholar 3 years to understand. You know absorption lines, right? Average 22,000 absorption lines are cut. Each one you can do. Through computers, through software it takes 3 years. Life is tough. Why? Let me get. See, I don't want to inform you much. I want to get that feeling. Suppose I request your ID card. Suppose. You have fantastic handwriting. You should note that. I'm saying it for the last 1 hour. Absolutely beautiful handwriting. Others may have, but I'm seeing that. Congrats. Whatever. Let me get your ID card. See how my eyes are? Even at that age, it is not dimmed. You know, I can see your handwriting also. Your ID card has your photograph. Now, looking at a photograph from a distance, I have to say, hey, what is your body temperature at this moment? What is your size? What is your mass? What is inside you? The chemistry, the biology. What is biology? How long ago you were born? Looking at a photograph, can you ask this question and get an answer? Never, right? But don't forget, looking at a photograph of a star, you have to answer all these questions. Apart from the signal of light, no other signals can come from a star. You cannot bring down the star to your lab, cut open, put chemical test kit, smell it and say, this is this. You have to be tremendously clever, tremendously intelligent upstairs to do meaningful research in astrophysics. That's the reason the cream de la creme of our country's academic people, they are opting out almost 65%, the first class past top people for astrophysics. Ultimate challenge. If you're clever, just this light, I can tell all these things. Temperature, mass, everything. And so what? Yes. Because a lot of people come to me, sir, I love astronomy, I want to do. I tell them, do your studies properly. I'll give you my example. 35 years back. I did my PhD in a place called Indian University Center for Astronomy and Astrophysics in Pune, IUCA. That was the first product. In our time, 1900 students applied for the admission test. The application cutoff was 65% in BSc, 65% in MSc, which was tough at that time. Now it has become the and recommendation. 3 recommendations top. Out of 1900, 90 were called to Pune for the written test and the interview. Written test morning, say 10 to 12, I remember still, 2 hours. Out of 90, 27 were chosen. Lunch, starting from 1:30, interview. Of those 27. From 27, 9 were chosen. Final interview, from 5:30 to 8:30 in the evening, same day. Out of 9, 2 were chosen. No Prime Minister, President give recommendation, nothing happens there. But once you are there, world opens up. Believe me, my friend. But in my 4.5 years of PhD, I could travel to 19 countries to deliver lectures without a single paisa from my pocket or from government. Opens up. but you're very good. How much marks you have got is not any more matter. How good you are. I'll give you an idea. These sort of questions. Do you know Newton's laws of motion? I said, wow, every continuous state of race. What is the basic meaning of it? What is the connection between the first and the second law? And can you connect first, second and third law in a single thread conceptually? No book in the world has been. You have to think. Your answer may not be correct, but they just want to see how you answer. That will prove your intelligence. The exams that were taken, first year is called graduate school, like in America. 2 semesters. Typical exam was, pass mark was 70 marks, or 70% out of 100. You have to pass, get 70% to pass. If you fail, no repeat, go back home. And how? The questions were given typically on Fridays around 12 o'clock. And were asked to submit your answer Monday evening. Everything is open. Library, internet, go find an answer, give an answer. Most of them were original research questions. There is no answer to that. Right? And everybody will get scared. And at least me and one of my colleagues there. And that's also amazing. He was a BTech in mechanical engineering from IIT Kanpur. And you know, he did his PhD on quantum cosmology. And at present is the director of Raman Research Institute in Bangalore. I'm an engineering student, what will I do with physics? I don't know. These are all nonsense. If you are good, you are good. I'll give you class 12 physics book. It will take you just a month to finish up everything on your own. Have that confidence. Have that. ये होता नहीं, मेरे को आता नहीं, मैं समझता नहीं कैसा होता है. That is wrong. If I do not go to this particular coaching class, spending 3 lakh rupees of my father, I will not do good. Believe me, my friend, I have never stood first in my class. Never. All the years. Never. But one thing was very good. My father and parents did. We are both academicians. From nursery to, I was a South Point student. Nursery to my MSc final year, I never had a single tutor or coaching. I studied alone. That is the best. That's why, I'm sorry to say, I'm not boasting. I'm here, and a lot of people in my group are not. My father used to say, when I used to get mad, all my friends, classmates, 3, 4, 5, 7 teachers, every subject. Now why my father is not giving? I realized, now I'm realizing for the last 20 years, what good it has done to me. Because why? Every exam, to me there was no special particular focus on this subject. I have to read chapter 1 to chapter 25. And that is helping me now. That is it. Right? So, I'm not going into, I'm almost coming to an end of another lecture next door, modernized school. Not lecture, sorry, a meeting. Alright, now forget about these mathematical things. How much time will you give me? 10-15 minutes just? Then you can drive me out. Whatever. Stars are born out of interstellar clouds of gas and gas. What do I mean by the word? When you see the sky between 2 stars, then black, nothing. No, huge amount of gas we do not get to see. You want to see true color picture of the sky? From one cloud, 1,000 solar systems will fall. Don't mix it with the cloud that you get to see the atmosphere. Do you see this? But my friend, as I was mentioning, 2.5 billion pixels, 25 lakh pixels, each pixel will give you information. Because you have no other way to know. You see this greenish blue, oxygen 5, oxygen 6. This blue, neutral hydrogen. This yellow, sulfur. This black, iron or cobalt. This green, zinc or molybdenum. This white, titanium. A picture tells us. After I say wow, then I have to sit back and understand. You want to see what is the universe? Know the size. You see the nodules over here, 1, 2, 3 small nodules. Each nodule inside has a fully formed solar system. Universe is throwing a challenge to young minds like you. You think you know everything, right? Try to understand. Then I'll know how good you are. If you are born, you have to die. How do the stars die? Stars die differently depending upon the initial mass. Stars whose initial mass is 1 to 8 times the mass of Sun. Take the case of Sun. This burning hydrogen to helium at the core. How much hydrogen remaining? Another 500 crore years, 5 billion years, Sun will be burning hydrogen to helium at the core. After 500 crore years, when all the hydrogen gets into helium, thermonuclear fusion stops, energy production stops, outward pressure stops, but gravity cannot be stopped. So Sun will become smaller. Smaller and smaller and smaller. When it is becoming smaller, in the outer envelope, shells, there's still a lot of hydrogen remaining. Because of the contraction, the temperature slowly rises to 1.5 crore, which was earlier at the center. At that temperature, 4 hydrogen nuclei again fuses, produces helium near the surface. Huge amount of energy produced, it will expand. Heated up gas. So after 500 crore years later, open the window, you will see Sun going smaller, smaller, smaller. Suddenly it will stop and it will start becoming bigger. How big it will be? In a small calculation you can show. After 500 crore years later, Sun will become bigger and bigger and bigger and ultimately touch the orbit of Earth. Mercury, Venus and Mars, long before that, will all go inside the Sun. And much long before that, everything that you see now, including us, pure ash. Don't get panicked. If you believe that 500 crore years you are going to be alive, but that is going to be the end of everything that we call Earth. Right? When the outside is becoming bigger, the inner core of helium, because of gravity, is becoming smaller. Slowly the temperature rises from 1.5 to 10 crores. At 10 crore degrees centigrade, 3 helium nuclei fuse together and produce a carbon nucleus. Helium to carbon production. Again, heat generated, it stops. But soon, when all the helium gets into carbon, since the initial mass of the star is 1 to 8 times the mass of Sun, it is not enough. That at that stage to put more gravitational pressure to increase the temperature to 1000 crore, 10,000 crore degrees centigrade. So the central object, a hot ball of carbon in the sky, it will become very bright like a dot. It will be called a white dwarf. By that time, the outside has become so big, it starts getting detached from the central region and creates a cloud-like structure called planetary nebula. Nebula means cloud. Right? Over millions of years, the planetary nebula is slowly dissipate away in the interstellar medium, and this white dwarf continuously giving heat, but more heat getting produced, it will become very cold, brown or black dwarf, and ultimately will not be produced. You think it's a science fiction, right? For the last 30 years, these are the very small amount of research I do on these objects. True color picture I am showing. Oh, sorry. Planetary nebula. And at the center, you can see the white. So it was almost 25 years back when he started a program, research program, where we showed that as the star is becoming bigger, it doesn't do continuously, it creates pulse. And star becomes very big. We could show that just behind the pulse or the shock waves, molecules can form. Even at that temperature. Why? By something called adiabatic cooling. I'm not going into the details. And a new branch. Our secretary, sir, and President sir had said, chemistry is the mother. Here it becomes a part of astronomy. Sorry, I'm joking. No fights. It's the study of the synthesis of molecules in space. I'll give you the story, just 2 minutes. 1994-95, we did this simulation, and I had to write the code. At that time, it was only Fortran. Believe me, painful. 22,000 line program. It took me 1 year to write and debug it. Right? No Python or C++ that time. Never was there. Crunch. I was a faculty at that time at University of Manchester. So they had a supercomputer for our department. So I could use the supercomputer, put that simulation, crunch, came out 72 molecules in the computer. Nobody believed us, internationally. luck. Holland sent a spacecraft in 1996 called ISO, Infrared Space Observatory. Its main objective was to look into this. Believe me, my friend, the joy, the cheer, out of 72 predicted molecules, 68 were discovered in one shot. And a new branch started flourishing, astrophysics. Right? And now it's a very big industry called DIG, dust, ice and gas astrophysics. In space, we have dust, we have gas, and we have ice crystals, which are called whiskers. Whiskers is cat-free, right? Because they are typically longish, 50 microns by 10 microns. Dust. And huge amount of molecular. And I can give an astrochemistry lecture for 2 hours, but I'm not going to do that. Another maybe 5 minutes, if you give me. So these are the molecules that were predicted and was observed. And you see one thing, most of them are organic molecules. That means they are precursor of life. So any star produces the prebiotic material for life to happen. Life is not special to us. It is universal. And that created another uproar. Right? Whatever, death of stars, stars whose initial mass is 8 to 25 times. Since the mass is more, at the center initially hydrogen, helium, helium to carbon, heavy, more pressure, more temperature, carbon to oxygen, silicon, neon, sulfur, one after another, and ends in iron. You have all studied iron as the highest binding energy. You cannot push or heat 2 iron nuclei to produce something else. No fusion, right? So, at the center, a big core of iron, then like a peels of an onion, peels of an onion, hydrogen, helium, oxygen, silicon, sulfur. This stage is the thermonuclear fusion stops. Gravity will catalyze. All these layers with a tremendous force will go towards the iron core, get a tremendous huge kick. The iron tries to compress, but beyond nuclear density, till it was 17 kg per meter cube, it cannot become smaller. So it gives a recoil. All these layers again start coming up and explodes. Supernova explosion. At the point of explosion, the temperature rises to few trillion degrees centigrade. And starting from iron 56 to 94 in the periodic table, all the naturally occurring elements get produced by a fraction of a second. Since they are produced in a fraction of a second, they cannot be produced in huge quantities. And on Earth they have a special name, rare earth element. And believe me, my friend, each atom of iron in your blood, each atom of calcium in my bones, sodium, potassium, magnesium, whatever this material, this computer, this screen, whatever element and atom they are made up of, atom by atom literally was only created inside a star millions of years back. You cannot produce higher elements in nature apart from hydrogen and helium, which was produced at the Big Bang. So, the supernova explosion has given us an amazing start. That you, me, the cat, the monkey, the dog, the donkey, any plant, any insect, any animal, we are all starting. Our body is made up of stellar fossils.
Even the politicians.
Everything. So, don't differentiate between you, big, small, rich, poor, black, white. Those are surface. Whatever you are made up of, I am made up of same. A girl is made up of same thing. A lion is made up of same thing. Even a cockroach is made up of same thing. Have this global vision in your mind. It broadens your mind. And so, starting from gas ends up to gas. Both the cases. And apart from hydrogen and helium, all elements have been found to be produced only in an astrophysical scenario. And this has given birth to a new idea about these gas clouds. Because continuously a khichdi is going on. Chemistry is getting more complicated. So if I now ask the question, what is life? What is life? Where from did we come? Because starting from 1957 till today, Hundreds of experiments has been performed, but nobody can create life on earth till today. You can reproduce, but life cannot be created on earth. So more and more, the scientists are saying, since we now know life is a universal process, not particular to solar system, life came from space. Not life, not aliens. Prebiotic organic materials, complex molecules came from space, and some of the life started. Nobody today know how life started. What is life? So my friend, a new subject for the last 20 years, astrobiology. QED, astrophysics, astrochemistry, astrobiology, astrocomputing, astrostatistics. What else do you want out of one subject? Can I now call it out of one subject? No, I'm joking. Right? So, we have come to the end of the journey which we started 1.5 hours back. And it is the final frontier of human understanding. Enjoy it. Make the frontier push a little bit for us to know much more about it. You can do it. Thank you very much.
Thank you for the lecture, sir. Life indeed is an accident. Life indeed is also a miracle. So thank you for initiating us into that. Very quick.